Hello there, it's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes, the podcast where we look at an upcoming forecast in the stars and numbers in the astrology and numerology. In this case, it's the Capricorn full moon number 2. We had number 1 in June and the second one on July 21st at 11:17 a.m. Universal Time. That is 6:17 a.m. Pacific Time and 3:17 a.m. Pacific Time. Now, as I said, this is the second of 2 Capricorn full moons. Capricorn rules leadership. It rules authority. In astrology, we have 12 houses. So your astrology chart covers all 12 houses. And the meaning of the 10th house is career, public standing, authority, leadership, and Capricorn naturally rules that house. So anything to do with Capricorn has to do with top-down leadership and the ability to take the lead in some way in your life, or collectively leaders. So the first Capricorn full moon was in June. The second one is June 21st. Now 21 is the number of our 21st century. The truth shall set you free. Now let's begin with July 15th, the beginning of the week, because on that day, Mars conjuncts Uranus, and that conjunction is still active during the Capricorn full moon 6 days later. Now the reason I'm bringing this up, I'm recording this on July 14th, is because Mars and Uranus bring shocking, sudden events. And in this case, 26 degrees Taurus happens to be the location, the current location of the fixed star Algol. Now, I'm not an expert on fixed stars, but I did learn about this one because it is combining with this very potent conjunction. And Algol, according to Ptolemy, represents authority that falls from a high place, or literally, he used the word decapitation. That can be symbolic, of course, doesn't have to be real. So we had on July 13th, last night, an assassination attempt on a former president of the US, Donald Trump. And so this astrology combination of Mars, Uranus, Algol at 26 degrees Taurus, all at 26 Taurus on Monday, has already had an impact. Now, I don't usually talk politics at all because I feel that astrology needs to inspire, uplift, inform, as opposed to divide. So the reason I'm bringing up this event is just to show the power of astrology. And so I'm going to briefly just show you 2 things. First of all, in Donald Trump's birth chart, he has Mars at 26 degrees in Leo, right on his ascendant. And that means that his natal Mars is forming an exact square to 26 degrees Taurus, where this triple conjunction or stellium is taking place between Mars again, Uranus, and Algol. So that's an exact square, and we are in the hours before that happens, and there was the assassination attempt. So now let's briefly look at the transits on July 13th as they happened at 6:15 p.m. in Butler, Pennsylvania, superimposed on Donald Trump's birth chart. And what you can see is the Mars-Uranus conjunction, which is coming together, which is the most potent time in astrology, is when planets approach each other. Once they have formed their aspect, in this case in conjunction, a merging of 2 bodies in the same place is a conjunction, they're joining together. Once they have made that connection and start going apart, the energy starts to dissipate. But as they approach and the energy builds up to a crescendo is when it's at its strongest. So here we see Mars at 25 degrees Taurus, Uranus at 26 degrees Taurus. They're going to be together on Monday, the 15th. And look at Donald Trump's midheaven is 24 degrees Taurus. Midheaven is the beginning of the 10th house. The 10th house is naturally ruled by Capricorn. It's all about leadership and career. So here we have Algol, which you don't see, the fixed star Algol, 26 degrees, merged with Uranus and Mars at 25, and then his midheaven, which is his career, at 24 degrees. So it shows you, and of course they're forming a square with Mars. his natal Mars, 26 degrees Leo. A square is the most tense aspect in astrology. And Mars is on his ascendant. That means Mars plays a big role. The aggression, the confidence, all of that is indicative. And he has Leo rising, which is a fire sign. Mars is a fire planet, so very fiery energy to begin with in his chart. And that is Algol. Remember, the ancient astrologer Ptolemy and other astrologers as well said that Algol, this fixed star, currently at 26 degrees Taurus, is about beheading, or losing power. Now, when we look at things symbolically, we know that it's not a predictive tool. It is a forecast, so you can have incidents, energies that line up a certain way. It doesn't mean that they fulfill what the symbolic meaning is. It just means that there, in this case, is a danger and to be careful, right? So it's a forecast to help you prepare, to help you be in a place of empowerment so that you can navigate the best way possible, which is why I create these forecasts. So I wanted to point out these two charts because when I do readings, what we do as astrologers, really good astrologers, don't predict, they give forecasts and they point out certain aspects that are opportunities and certain aspects that say, well, lay low on this topic, depending on where it's taking place in your chart, right? So you just have to keep all that in mind. And there's one more thing I want to point out in the transits in Donald Trump's chart. The sun, at the time, on the July 13th, the sun was nearly conjunct his natal Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is the ruler of the 10th house. Saturn is a very important planet. It indicates timing. It also is connected to leadership, of course, being the ruler of Capricorn. So we had all these. We had the triple square to his natal Mars on his ascendant. We have the sun conjunct Saturn. We have the actual stellium occurring on his midheaven. There's a lot here, right? I have not looked at the astrocartography yet because I wanted to get this video out, but I will do that as well. So then let's look at the Capricorn full moon. We still have Mars and Uranus in a conjunction, though Mars has now moved into Gemini. It's moved away from Uranus, so it's definitely not as strong. But what we do have is the moon is almost exactly conjunct Pluto. And I mentioned this in my previous Star Codes podcast, where we looked at the U.S. Pluto return, which is ongoing now. The first time that Pluto has come back after 248 years and returned to its natal position in the U.S. chart. That has been ongoing for the last couple of years. So now it's coming to a head because it's the final time now that Pluto will be dipping into Capricorn. That happens in September, October, November. So why am I bringing this up? Because Pluto is conjunct this full moon in Capricorn. Capricorn being leaders, Capricorn being everything to do with authority and politics. So here's Pluto right after this conjunction of Uranus, Mars, and Algol in Taurus, right? And that conjunction also formed a square to the natal Pluto in the U.S. chart. And I know I'm talking a lot of gobbledygook probably to a lot of you, but those of you who know the U.S. chart know from my last podcast on Uranus and Mars conjunction, this Mars-Uranus merging on July 15th creates a direct square to the U.S. natal Pluto. And so here then, a few days later, Pluto conjuncts the moon for the Capricorn full moon. So you now see sort of the big picture. There's a lot of transformation. And the transformation is all about those in power or people who disempower or anything to do with the ability to see the truth, because that's what Pluto does. It brings up what has not been seen and brings it to the surface in order for us to see the truth and then transform. And remember, speaking about truth, it happens the full moon on July 21st. 21 is the truth shall set you free. It happens in the final degree of Capricorn, 29 degrees. That is a critical degree, hugely important. The final degree of any sign is more magnetic, more intense. And so this is a really big moment. And it's not just for US politics. I'm talking in general. It's major. You're probably feeling it in some capacity in your life, depending on where this is taking place in your natal chart. Fortunately, after this Capricorn full moon, things do calm down. So there are some wonderful positive aspects as well. For one, Venus is sextile to Jupiter during this full moon. Venus is at 11 degrees in Leo and Jupiter is at 12 degrees in Gemini, and they form a beautiful sextile that is coming together. So it's really being amplified and it's bringing a lot of opportunities and joy and beauty and love and happiness that you can take advantage of. So the optimism is really palpable as well, even during these intense times. And remember that July is a 15 universal month in numerology. 7/2024 adds up to 15. 15 is the spiritual alchemist, uplifting others through joy and love. It is a very powerful number, very positive number, and it really is helping matters as well. So there are a lot of themes here about love, about compassion, about moving out of self-centeredness into unconditional love and acceptance. And there's a lot of trine energy, which is the most joyful, harmonious energy in astrology during this Capricorn full moon. For example, the moon and Pluto are trine to the Uranus-Mars conjunction, and that's helping to alleviate some of the tension, right? So again, this happens July 21st, just 6 days after that Mars-Uranus algal conjunction in Taurus, and it's really going to be helpful. So that trine is beautiful. And so you want to look at, what are you dedicating your energy to? Capricorn is the sign of achievement and success and career and leadership and what you're destined to do. It really is the sign of destiny. And so the areas of career and also home and family, because Capricorn is opposite to Cancer, the sign that is literally about how we feel at home in our nesting place, in our sanctuary. Those will be big, big themes at this time. Now, there's one more trine I need to mention because it's very, very important. Neptune is currently at 29 degrees Pisces in its own sign. 29 degrees Pisces is the final degree of the zodiac because Pisces is the last sign, 29 degrees the last degree of that sign. So it's out of 360 degrees, it's the last one. And Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is currently stationed there, stationing retrograde. It's forming an exact trine to the sun and a sextile to the moon. They're at 29 degrees in Capricorn. This is really good news too, because Neptune brings peace. Neptune brings compassion. Yes, Neptune can pull the wool over your eyes and not allow you to see clearly, but in this case it is a trine, and so there's a lot of beauty and love and spirituality and turning to spirit, turning to source, turning to God, praying, allowing yourself to surrender to spirit. That is there too. So we're always given everything that we need for any situation that we are in, and this is especially important to know when we are in a difficult spot, that the universe always provides us a way to overcome and to be inspired to see the solution, or to at least know what direction to take, right? That then leads us to the aha moment about the solution. So always remember that about you and your situation, whatever the case may be, because there is a way out. There are these moments where we just have to release all thoughts about what we thought should happen or how it might be best for us to happen, and let go of it completely and allow life to be seen, to unfold, so that we can recognize the most high vibrational path to take or decision to make. So having said that, this Capricorn full moon is big. It does end a very potent, crazy, intense time. It does focus your attention on future goals and recognition and where you want to go and how you want to be responsible. After all, Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, the planet of timing, responsibility, getting organized, getting rid of anything that is distracting, right? So those are themes that will come up for you in some way. So this activation of the Capricorn full moon at 29 degrees in Capricorn is opposite the sun at 29 degrees Cancer. Cancer rules home and family, and Capricorn rules career. So your home is in the picture with the sun in Cancer on that final degree. And so you also have an opportunity now, speaking of opportunities, to look at where you live to see, is it a good place for you? And you can do that through astrocartography. And I have a new masterclass for you on astrocartography that you can watch right now at positivelocations.com. You can get instant access. We cover the secret power of place, how your astrology birth chart is superimposed on the world map, 5 critical components you must know about in terms of your astrocartography lines. So much is unknown about this incredible astrology tool. We have plenty of celebrity examples throughout the free masterclass, which I think you'll really get a kick out of because it really shows the power of astrocartography. And one common mistake that so many make when they look up their astrocartography online, they're looking at their main lines and they don't realize that that's just the beginning. There's so much more to know, and you can make some bad decisions about travel and moving if you don't know about this common mistake. We also look at the relocated chart, so important, and so much more. So enjoy that free masterclass at positivelocations.com. Have a safe and beautiful and calm week. Breathe a lot. Do meditation, do exercise. You know, Mars wants us to move our bodies and it really helps release. And I just wish you a really beautiful Capricorn full moon. Lots of love. See you next week. Bye-bye for now.